everyone, welcome back to 25 Sweetpeas and welcome to the Christmas 2021 series. Today I'm going to be showing you how to illustrate these cute little Christmas trees on the app Procreate. To get started, all you need is an iPad, an Apple Pencil, and the app Procreate downloaded. And everything else will be explained in the video. If you guys are super new to the app Procreate, I do have a little bit of a refresher video or kind of like an intro video that I will have linked down in the description box below that will kind of go over all of the tools and different things that we're going to utilize over and over again in this video. Otherwise, watch it and pause if you need more time, and let's just have some fun. So let's go. Okay, let's get going. I've already got my 3000 by 3000 canvas open. We're going into the layer panels and we're changing that background color again. Today we're creating like an outdoorsy scene, so I'm getting like this dusty blue. It may be snowing in the scene, so I think dusty blue seems like a good. And I'm going to go ahead and start strong by naming my first layer my sketch layer. I'm grabbing my favorite sketching tool, which is a 6B pencil, and my favorite sketching color, which is kind of like a darkish navy dusty blue. I'm turning on my grid guide maxed size wise, and now I'm on that sketch layer and it is time to start sketching. So today's illustration, as you guys can see from the side, is a little cluster of festive trees. Why are trees decorated in the middle of the forest, you ask? The answer is I don't really know, but it seems like a fun idea. Maybe some squirrels and some chipmunks and some deer all decorated trees. It involves 3 trees, and this is a very rough sketch, so keep that in mind. I find when drawing trees that it's very helpful to start with kind of like a straight line in the middle of the tree. And I know I'm saying a straight line and that totally looks like a wobbly, not so straight line, but you know, this is the rough sketch. We're just trying to figure out placement and levels of the different trees. I do want to indicate that there is a little bit of a ground, even though this is basically a spot illustration. I'm going to try to line this up in the middle using a snapping tool, but I do want you to keep in mind that because this is like an unbalanced spot illustration, the centering tool may or may not always work. So I think I'm actually going to go ahead and go straight into this sketch because I feel like it's a rather simple sketch. I'm going to grab a green and I'm going to do a triangle. I'm going to do the biggest triangle first for the furthest back tree. And looking at that, I am using the triangle tool and it wasn't perfect. So I'm actually going to go ahead and press like the little thingy indicator at the top and edit the triangle a little bit by changing the top point. Now I'm going to move its place. The stopping tool is kind of being annoying with me, so I turn that off when I'm moving it now, and I'm just going to fill this in. I could like do a color drop, but I like the texture that this pencil gives, so I'm going to go ahead and actually just color it in with the same pencil that I'm sketching with. I know at one time, for the longest time actually, I'm like, you're not supposed to color with your sketching pencil, but I'm like, but I really like the texture of it, so why not? So I'm doing that now. And this triangle is still looking a little wonky, but we're going to work with it. It's not actually going to be seen fully, so I'm actually going to go one shade lighter in the green department, and I'm working on a new layer that is above the back tree. And I'm putting in a little bit of a fatter triangle, as you guys can see, offset from the other one that we were working on. And I actually like how that one's shape came out, so we're going to leave it as is. We're going to move it around a little bit so I get a nice little overlap. Kind of want to pull it in a little bit tighter. Okay, I feel like I've got it right. So now I'm going to go ahead and, again, fill it in with that lovely pencil texture. Again, you could do color drop, but if you've got that nice textured pencil, just use it. Okie dokie. Got that about good. Now I'm going to go ahead and add a third layer. And the great thing about doing all of these different trees on different layers is we can go back and manipulate them, change them around. I've changed my green shade down 1. I'm actually going to go ahead and turn my sketch back onto a multiply blend mode and pull it up to the top so I can kind of see it, because I couldn't see the guidelines, as you guys can see now, because I turned it on a multiply blend mode and took it to the top. Now I am back on the third layer of trees, which I think is like layer 4. And I'm doing a lighter colored tree, and it is overlapping all of the trees we have done so far, making a little bit of a perfect circle. Not a circle, a triangle. I don't know why I said circle. Okay, that point was a little off, so I'm going to pull those little nodes over and make it a little bit more triangular. Okay, liking that. Move its rotation a teeny bit. You just kind of work with this one until it looks right to you. And I'm going to turn off the sketch because it's kind of in the way, and I'm going to fill in this little tree. And it's pretty quick and easy because it's a smaller one. And I think we're about good. I need to change its little spot real quick. But see, now that all of our trees are in different layers, I can actually go ahead and like play with them. And I feel like this back tree, it needs to be fuller. So I'm going to go ahead and add on to that one a little bit. So I went back to its layer, and I am making that one a little bit fatter and fluffier. There we go. Now we still got all the trees on a different layer, so I'm going to go ahead and move that one a little bit inwards, but yet it still looks fuller and it seems a bit more equivalent. So I'm going to name that one back tree. Then I'm going to name the middle one the middle tree. And then layer 4, we're going to switch to being the front. That way, whenever we are like doing the decorations and adding more of the details to these, we will know which tree is what. We won't have to like figure it out. Next up, I'm going to add a layer behind all of the trees, and I'm going to add in some little tree stumps with a brown shade. These don't have to be perfect by any means, especially on the back one, because you're not really going to notice it. But now I'm going to add another layer, and I'm going to grab a pure white shade, and we're going to start adding in some snow behind the trees. And again, I'm still using that 6B pencil. It's just such a great texture. And with the snow, we don't really want it to look any sort of perfect. Okay, so that snow actually needs to go very, very back behind the trunks too. So, okay, move that, and now we're back to coloring the snow, and I feel like to give it a softer edge, we're going to go in and like smudge out the frontward edge of the snow later. That way it can look a bit more like a spot illustration and not be as such a harsh lines. Like I'm doing now, my smudge brush is set to my ink brush. Yeah, that really adds to it. I still feel like we need some snow possibly in front of the tree trunks. So we're going to have to add that on the tree trunk layer, actually above that one. Add some little snow drifts in front of the trees. That way they don't look so awkward. Smudge that bottom one out because it looked a little wonky. And I think that's looking pretty good for the snow. Now it is time, I think, that we start decorating these trees. Now, to do this, I am going to go ahead and put a new layer above each tree layer. So the back one is going to have a layer, and that is the bigger tree in the back, and I'm actually going to change my color to a yellowy shade. And then I'm going to go to my brush panel, and I'm going to go to the luminance built-in brushes, and I'm going to use the light pen here. So if you use the light pen, you oh yeah, I also want to put on a bit. No, okay, we're working on the right tree. I wanted to make sure. Now we're working on the layer above the back tree, and I'm just going to dot this brush all over the tree. And because it is a luminance light pen, it is actually going to give it kind of a Christmas light glow like tone to it, and I really like how that looks. It also gives kind of like a glowy orb around the spot that you do, so it's like the perfect way to have instant Christmas lights and instant festiveness. So just do that until you are happy with it. And on that one, you don't really want to use a clipping mask because you want that glow to go beyond the tree if it's there. Now we're going to go back to the layer panel. Actually, wait, I think we need to add a star. So I went back and changed my brush to just a regular 6B pencil, and I'm using the same yellow, and I'm going to go ahead and put like a little lumpy star on the top of this tree, meaning I'm not looking for really pointed edges. We're going to have rounded edges on the star, and we're just kind of making it up as we go. I do need it centered, and I definitely didn't draw it centered, so I'm going to use the little lasso tool thingy, the selection tool, and I'm going to select it and move it over a little bit just so it looks like it's at the tip top of the tree. Once I am happy with that, we are happy with all the decorations on that tree. I'm going to go ahead and go to another tree. I think we'll go to either the middle or the front. Yeah, let's go with the middle tree there. Put a layer above it, and on that one we're going to do its decorating. So I'm going to go ahead and grab a kind of like a corally or pinkish shade. I still have the 6B pencil selected. Yep, nope, I'm actually switching to the ink brush. And I'm just going to kind of put in, I need to make it smaller so I can have a nice little rough texture on the side and kind of make it look like tinsel is decorating the tree. We're going to kind of drape it across the tree a few times, like 2 to 3 times, maybe hit 4. I don't remember how many fit in this sort of shape. I'm thinking about 3.5 is what you'll see. Yeah, we'll go ahead and add that there. I feel like that looks good. And because I did that with one color and this brush doesn't pull any other colors, I'm actually going to go ahead and turn up the saturation of the same color and turn the brightness down and add a little bit of just texture within it so it makes it look like it's a bit dimensional. But of course we know that it's actually flat. But it adds a little something to it, I feel like. Looks pretty good. Okay, finish this part up. Okay, now it's time to add another layer above the front tree. As you guys can see, I've got the front tree there. I've got a layer on top of it. It's layer 10. And this one I'm going to go ahead and decorate with some little baubles. So I'm going to alternate between kind of like a pinkish shade, a red shade, and a turquoise shade. And I'm just going to put in some little round circles. I am not necessarily using the circle tool that we could use. I'm kind of just winging it. And I feel like that kind of helps make it a bit more organic and less planned. I did about like 2 to 3 of each color. I found that to be a pretty nice balance for the size that I was doing. Just playing with the tones a little bit. Yeah, I'm liking how that's looking. Now, these ornaments are pretty flat at this moment. So at this point, if you want, you could turn on like an alpha lock and add some more dimension to it. Or you could leave it as is. It's totally up to you. But I think I'm going to leave it as is. I'm going to group all of the tree elements together. I've left the ground elements at the bottom. I've grouped those together. And I think it's time to just add the sort of background texture that we've been adding on the previous illustrations we have done for this series. So I've added a new layer at the very bottom of all of them. I've turned it onto a multiply blend mode. I've grabbed a really textured brush from the Gladys Things, and I will have that link down below. And I've just added some dots in the background, some splattery effects to add some nice texture. And also, fun little idea here, you could layer this sort of texture on top of the illustration and make it look like it's snowing. So let's do that. And there is like some little snowy effects on top. Kind of makes it like a fun little snow globe-like vibe. So have fun with it, add texture, make it look like a snowy scene, and just, have fun, play around. And that is it for this illustration. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I feel like it's really fun. It's really simple. And if you don't feel like drawing it, don't forget that you can sign up for my email, which I will have linked down below. And you will actually gain instant access to a full 13-page PDF where the first page has 12 little illustrations for you to color one a day for 12 days straight or every other day, whatever you want to do this festive holiday season. Plus, there are 12 bonus pages in there that show you step-by-step directions as to how to draw these little illustrations in line art form if you aren't wanting to do it like full color-wise. So, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you guys soon. And remember, everything that I use in this video will basically be linked in the description box down below, or I will also have a link for you to sign up for the email so you guys can get the PDF that I showed you. And I think that is it. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to y'all later. Bye!